Hi guys, this is Mrs. Denton. Today we're going to do lesson 9-1, exponents. Grab you some notebook paper. It's important that you write down some notes and some examples with this for your assignment today. Our warm-up just simply says find the product. Make sure you have a calculator, put those in, write down your answer. You can pause the video and come back and check your work. Okay, number 1, if we put into our calculator 5 times 5 times 5, we are going to get an answer or product of 125. Number 2, if we put into our calculator 10 times 10 times 10, we are going to get a product or answer of 1,000. And number 3, make sure you're including that negative with the 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 gives us an answer or product of negative 27. And number 4, 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Or you can look at the number of zeros you have and know that your answer needs to have 5 zeros. That would make 100,000. Number 5, 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, 256. And number 6, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is going to give us a positive 16. You're going to use the calculator most of the lesson today, so make sure you have that. Okay, we've got some vocabulary now here. Let's talk about the parts. So if you'll look down at the bottom at the diagram here, when we say power, we're talking about the entire problem that we're referring to. So a power is a product of repeated factors. Now, when I refer to a base, I'm talking about the larger part of the power. So the base of a power is the common factor. And when I mention exponent, we're talking about this little number to the top right. And the exponent of a power indicates the number of times the base is being used as a factor. So, for example, 1/2 raised to the 5th power would be written out as 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. It's basically repeated multiplication. Okay, example 1, writing expressions using exponents. So our directions just simply say write each product using exponents. We have a study tip over here to the side that says use parentheses to write powers with negative bases. Let's look at that. Part A actually has a negative base because we are taking negative 7 and multiplying it times itself 3 times. So I've got 1, 2, 3 negative 7s that I want to multiply. Because negative 7 is used as a factor 3 times, its exponent is going to be a 3. So for our answer, writing the product using exponents, we're simply going to include our negative with our 7, and our exponent is going to be a 3. Now that is also true if we have a symbol in part B like pi. Okay. Pi is going to be my base, and it's being multiplied twice, so that is my exponent. And then we're also multiplying r. Now I don't know the value of r, so I'm going to leave it as a variable, but I do see that it's being multiplied 3 times. So its exponent will be a 3. So that would be my final answer, just simply pi squared r to the 3rd power. Okay, now you try these 4 examples just like we did. Remember, you're not simplifying or solving it, you're just writing it in with an exponent. Pause the video if you need to and come back and check your work. Okay, on part A, we have 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So our base is 4, and we're multiplying it 4 times, so that is our exponent. Part B, we have a base of -2. I'm going to put that in parentheses. And we are multiplying it twice, so that is our exponent. We also have a base of x, and we are multiplying it 3 times, so that becomes our exponent. Okay, number 1 at the bottom, we have a base of 1/4, and we are multiplying it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, so that is our exponent. Now, you may also see a fraction written inside parentheses with the exponent on the outside. That's the same thing. Okay, number 2, we have a base of 3/10, and it's being multiplied 4 times, so that is our exponent. And we have a base of x, and it's being multiplied twice, so that is our exponent. And that is our final answer because we don't know the value of x, so we can't go any further. Okay, example 2, evaluating expressions. So now we're going to use a calculator and work these out. Now, it's important that we make sure we put it directly into our calculator the way it is written. So on part A, notice I have a -2 as my base. So the repeated multiplication would be -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. Now you're going to put that directly into your calculator just as it is with parentheses. Remember, your calculator has that exponent button that's right above x squared. Looks like the top of an arrow. That allows you to move up to the exponent position, and then you're going to enter in a 4 there and press enter. And it should give you a positive 16. Now, look at the difference between A and B here. Notice we have parentheses around the -2 in A, but we don't in B. Okay, that could mean a difference. So when you're putting it into your calculator, you don't have parentheses, you just have the negative sign out here in the front. And notice once you put that in, what you get in your calculator is going to be a -16. So whether it's in parentheses or not can affect your answer. Make sure you're looking at that closely. In part A, we're wanting -2 raised to the power of 4. So that negative sign is going with each factor that we're multiplying. In part B, we are wanting the opposite of 2 to the 4th power. Well, if I know that 2 to the 4th power is 16 and I want the opposite of that, it's going to be -16. So that can make a difference in some of your problems that you're doing in this lesson. Okay, now you try these two. Pause the video. See if you can simplify these correctly in your calculator and come back and check your work. Okay, in part A, notice we have parentheses. So we are taking basically -3 times -3 times -3. That's going to give us a -27 in our calculator. Now, when you put in B, just a -3 to the 3rd power, you're also going to get a -27 because that's wanting the opposite of 3 squared. So it brings it to your answer. Now, what can you tell about this? In this previous example, where you had a positive exponent. Let's think about that for a second. We had the negative inside the parentheses. Our exponent was an even number, and we ended up with a positive. When we have, in this example, a negative inside parentheses, and our exponent is odd, we end up with a negative number. So look at the difference there. That's just a tip that helps you. You have a calculator though, so you may not need to rely on that. Okay, example 3, using the order of operations with your exponents. And you can, again, use your calculator. So make sure you have that handy. And if you'll think about our order of operations, that's the order that we're going to follow. Now you're going to put it probably directly into your calculator, and your calculator is going to do that work for you. If we were using paper pencil here, we would evaluate the power first. So I would go ahead and solve that part, and I would have 3 plus 2 times 81. And then my next step would be to multiply 2 groups of 81 gives me 162, and then my last step would just be to add, and I would get 165. And your calculator is going to do that work for you as long as you put in that correctly. Same thing with part B. You would evaluate the powers first. So 3 to the third power would be 27. 8 squared would be 64. And then your division by 2. Multiplication or division would come next. So we would have 27 minus 64 split in half would be 32, and that would be negative 5. Okay, example 3. Now you try. There are 4 problems here. Put them directly into your calculator and see what you come up with. Now on number 5, you've got absolute value, so you're not going to have that directly into your calculator. Pause the video, come back and check your work, see how you did. Okay, number 3. If we put into our calculator negative 5 without parentheses to the 4th power, hit enter, we're going to get a negative 625. Number 4, put this directly into your calculator just like it is with your parentheses, your negative, and your fraction to the 3rd power. And we get negative 1 over 216. Number 5, we want the absolute value of negative 3 to the 3rd power divided by 27. We need to, first of all, simplify our power. So put that into your calculator. And we would get negative 27 divided by 27. Bring the rest of that down. Go ahead and do that work into your calculator. You're going to get negative 1, which is still inside the absolute value lines. Now we simplify those, and the absolute value of negative 1 is positive 1. Circle these answers. Okay, number 6, you can put that directly into your calculator. Your calculator is going to do the power for you. 2 to the 5th power is 32 times 1/2. Your calculator will do that multiplication for you and this subtraction all in one step. You should get negative 7.